in and take the game pretty much for his team.
Well, maybe he will. He's done that plenty of times so far, but we're going to game 2. EG looking a little bit more favored before we start the number 2 game. But if they win this, they're up 2-0. So let's find out, jumping right into game 2 with our casters.
Thank you very much. Game number 1 got the blood pumping. Downer's heating up in here. If this keeps going the way it is, Cap, we're shedding a piece of clothing every single game. And we will be, well, we might be banned on Twitch by the end of it all. But EG versus Secret, game number 2. We've got signature heroes galore. Even back to the Crystal Maiden on Puppey. This is his old school hero.
You know, I was having the debate about whether or not I was going to predict EG or Secret for this finals. I think one of the most critical factors for me was the draft and whether or not PPD would be able to outdraft Team Secret. And I feel like this last pick of Storm Spirit was so critical. As they were saying on the analyst desk, look, everybody was thinking, okay, mid-last rack, mid-last rack, mid-last rack. We're thinking the last rack is going to be core, and all of a sudden they drop the Storm Spirit. And look at the disables, or lack thereof, that Secret have to be able to stop that Storm Spirit from snowballing. You've got 3 different cores who aren't going to be able to do too much. Tusk is your most likely candidate to stop that Storm Spirit from just constantly snowballing around, and it's very minimal. Like, he's got the Walrus Punch and Snowball. That's not a whole lot of stun duration to keep the Storm Spirit locked down. So I am feeling EG again for this game number 2, purely based off of the draft.
Man, I agree with you. And what are you going to be doing? Buying a Diffuser Blade over on your support Naga Siren to try and burn out the mana? You don't have a Lion that could potentially drain out Sumail. And Gyrocopter as well as Viper aren't really these heroes that will be going into something like a Scythe of Vice. So you're not really looking for direct control on the Storm Spirit either, or Orchid, or anything like that. You're right. I think Sumail could be a massive problem, and this is probably the other reason why EG has sent him up towards the top lane. Protect his farm, give him the momentum, and allow Fear to go one-on-one up against this Viper.
Exactly. There's no reason to try and put that Storm Spirit, I feel, in the middle lane up against the Viper.
PPD, cast time, Zai as well as Kuro. Pretty close, but it bounces down to the creeps, away from the heroes, which means Zai and Kuro can actually inflict heavy amounts of damage into both Aoi as well as PPD.
For them to actually harass both the Tusk as well as the Naga Siren if the cast actually bounced correctly. But hey, going over to the neutrals is a bit of a loss there for Evil Geniuses. But yeah, going back to it, I feel like, you know, secure the Storm Spirit farm, make sure that he doesn't lose out on that laning phase. And of course, when you put him in the safe lane up against the Tusk's Naga Siren, that's just so unlikely when you got 2 supports.
And it kind of looked like they were going to go again with Aoi having their stun up and running, but Sumail not wanting to come that close up against Zai, also realizing that this now is level 2. So with Snowball available, getting that guaranteed kill is not really that guaranteed anymore.
Yeah, meanwhile, in the bottom lane, this means the Darkseer, because the Crystal Main is going to be spending a lot of time stacking and farming up this jungle through Frostbite. If this leaves Universe to be able to get full experience in this lane, it's only up to Arteezy trying to get the occasional deny that's going to stop Universe from getting level 8, essentially, by like 12 minutes in.
I'm wondering if that's really the best idea here for Secret, knowing how Universe is. He really is one of the biggest playmakers for EG, coming in and just disrupting everything which the enemy does. But what's your trade-off? Like, you don't really want to put Puppey into the lane anyway until he's found a couple of levels, and he has to stay in the jungle to do such a thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Unfortunately, with the Naga Siren being support here, you just really don't have any rotational power, particularly when you're still only sitting at level 1 and don't even have Ensnare available. So they can't even like rotate and provide early pressure through ganks to try and upset the current static phase of this laning phase, which should be going the way of Evil Geniuses. The one lane that is obviously heavily to the advantage of Team Secret is going to be that Viper.
Yeah, and that's just because Fear has such a hard time getting even towards the creep wave. You want to start using cools to actually farm? That's one way of doing it. He does have that ball to do so. And he's dropping S4 down very, very low. One more spray and Vipe would have been in trouble, but a quick salve up from S4. He'll defend from back behind his tower. Just trying to make sure that Fear doesn't feel comfortable at all on the front lines. He's 13-5 up against 5-1. You want to see him with an advantage. He's got it as far as the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, Bristleback as a mid-hero likes to do a lot of spamming. And of course, every single time he throws out a Quill Spray, he's hit by the Corrosive Skin, and then he's also hit by the Poison attack. So he is incredibly slow. It's going to be very easy for S4 just to catch him.
keep my eye on this top lane as He's trying to watch Kuro very closely. Zai still sit very close towards the creep wave. Obviously, he's never going to be able to out-CS Sumail, but he's finding experience. 3.5 levels. Kuro then just does the pull off the side, so will deny most of the Radiant creep wave, which means the Tuskar should be approaching level 4 pretty rapidly. And actually, at the same time, EG's doing their own pull. So it's a battle for momentum more than anything else. And Poppy, for the first time, also shows himself in the bottom lane. Frostbite's up the creeps and tries to keep the Iron Shells off the back of Arteezy. And if you're Arteezy, what do you want to build into here? Do you try and go for lifesteal so you get some level of regeneration up against the Darkseer? Is a Hood of Defiance the way to go?
It might be necessary for him to pick up some lifesteal. Obviously, the extra HP is going to be nice versus some of the Ion Shell spamming, but also being able to stack up the Ancients could be a critical factor for Secret to get that Gyrocopter way ahead of the EG carries.
I think Zai's very, very lucky that wasn't a Beast Rune who spawned up for Fear. He came down to try and contest the 4-minute rune on the top.
I do want to point out that I really like the way that Arteezy has built this just to start with.
Top lane, maybe a little bit of trouble. Actually, Zai was the one to initiate on Sumail, but PPD, that paralyzing cast didn't come in as quick as I thought it was going to. And Tuskar has to trigger off the south to stay alive.
That's all right. They still get a little bit of pressure. Sumail is still top CS on the board, 31 and 5. So yeah, he's not getting that solo experience you usually like to see unless he gets caught out here.
Yeah, they're chasing hard from Snowball under. 2 of them together, but they separation from PPD. Blood is done and Zai's in trouble. Now we came in at the perfect time for the split. And there goes Zai, there goes your Tuskar, the man that was meant to be the control factor up against someone like a Storm Spirit, ends up giving first blood over.
It's so dangerous to go on the Storm Spirit in this sort of situation. I mean, they had a decent block on him. The Icicle Shards was nice, but the problem is, think about the 2 supports they're going into. They both play very well into Snowball. The natural grouping up mechanism of the Snowball allows both the cast as well as the Split Earth to potentially be devastating. And you can't forget about that early value of level 1 of Voodoo Restoration.
It really did some heavy lifting. And that means the Secret. Again, we do have ourselves. Okay, Snowball in. The Ice Shards hold Fear there. They're trying to get towards his front side, but all they're getting is the arse, and now he will go down. Viper has enough damage for it. And we go 1-1. University out of range. The attack from Poppy is not enough. 10 HP. It's all he'll have to survive, but that is enough.
Universe lucky to be alive, and now he's just going to go right back, especially with the soul ring that he has, right back to Ion Shell spamming. Arteezy's doing a pretty good job against this Ion Shell spamming. Gyrocopter doesn't have very good right-click damage, but he does actually have the Rocket Barrage he can spam out. So the early ring of Bacillus has actually helped him a lot in him being able to push against the Ion Shell and not continually be forced to fight into tower.
The cheeky support's battling it out for the Invis Rune. The Frostbite stopped Aoi from getting it, but he can still go for the Split Earth. PPD also has to be a little bit careful when he's isolated like this with Sumail. Watching Zai and Kuro very closely. They got the Ice Shards over on PPD. And again, you can just snowball into this level 2 Riptide with combining with the Ice Shards. That's a lot of quick damage if the heroes that don't have an escape yet. That's dangerous. And when you also have rotation coming in, that's even more dangerous.
They gotta go soon. Sumail's about to pick up his level 6. If he can get it just 1 second ahead of this Crystal Maiden.
Poppy's coming. One more creep is all Sumail needs. And now in comes the Snowball. The shards are off target. Poppy hanging around, and Zai not looking too healthy, but he frostbites on PPD. It was a trap to bait PPD out of hiding. So now they can go up for him and Poppy. There's not enough damage to finish. Akuro no man to do it either. Poppy's going to go down. In fact, it might be a double. There's PPD, no restoration. The shards on target. They won't find the pick off. No more attacks available, but it doesn't really matter. They just keep doing it through the pure damage. If they can, yep, there's your bouncing cast. She doesn't bounce at all, but the Snowball goes after PPD. Now Zai is a little bit too deep. No remnant available. He can get the pick off of the Witch Doctor. Zai backing up. The creep wave's doing the work, but Sumail, he'll find himself now with 3 kills in total. And there's all of the kills, in fact, for EG. You're giving momentum to a Storm Spirit.
And this is the exact opposite situation that they wanted to have happen. They were trying to gank up Sumail and take him out before he picks up that level 6. Sumail did something interesting there. He noticed he was 1 creep away. He turns and kills one of those creeps before trying to finish up any of those heroes. Then goes in the Crystal Maiden, sees the opportunity to go on the Naga Siren as well. And these trade-offs have now allowed Sumail to completely catch up in levels. This is one of the key factors of running a Storm Spirit in the safe lane. You got to think think about the fact that, okay, he's going to get a little less experience than he would in middle lane if he was, you know, not dying in that middle lane. So they actually now make up for that fact by being able to get certain kills, especially that last solo kill on Zai towards the end, which now pushes the Storm Spirit almost up to level 8, which is where S4 is at.
It's not even just the levels, it's the fact that he's almost 1,000 net worth in front of S4. So these new items are going to arrive. You've got a Soul Ring on Storm Spirit. I know we were saying during the semi-finals, at least the panel was just questioning, how does Sumail find the man to do what he does? Now you're actually giving him free bottle charges, the Soul Ring, extra mana. He's going to be jumping all across the map, finding whatever kills he can, and then having Darkseer buff him up with Iron Shell and Surge. He jumps on S4, that Iron Shell's doing the burn damage, and S4 is practically, in fact, he will be dead to the Witch Doctor of PPD. 33 seconds on the sideline.
Excellent rotation. The only thing that was really going to go super well for Secret was going to be that middle lane with the Viper. Even the bottom lane is at least a trade-off for Universe, who's getting an equal or almost equal amount of farm as an offlaner to the one position of Team Secret. So being able to get a gank on that Viper and slow his roll a bit was pretty critical, and an excellent rotation from EG, really thinking ahead of the time.
And EG is like they're trying to avoid what happened over on the Summit, where it was they took out the first game and then all of a sudden the next three went downhill, and they're off to a great start to stop that from happening as the Storm Spirit. It's all about momentum for him now, and it's all about Secret trying to quell this. S4, like, you're building into a mech. What is even our timing we're searching for from Secret? Is it Team 5? Then we better pick off with Puppey and Zai, because it looks like they're going for it again.
I feel like they do need to be the aggressors here. With the early mech pickup of the Viper, they need to utilize that mid. I mean, Viper is a hero who can drop off pretty heavily going into late game, especially in damage. He's a little okay when it comes to utility and slowing down through melee.
They're coming for Universe. At this point, the snowball's going to stop that surge away. Very quick, very efficient for the kill. And the support of TP in time. PPD's on the way in. But they've actually split up in multiple directions. Kuro went one way and PPD couldn't find either of them, but Storm Spirit jumping down Sumail, chasing after S4. Remember, Kuro is in the neighborhood, so he'll have instead to keep Fear at bay, potentially Riptide. They just throw out the ulti, now with the ice shots, paralyzing cast doesn't actually bounce off. This is a problem because it means Zai can move quite freely here. The restoration, PPD is focusing S4, but the damage is not Puppey. He lets it go! All over PPD, as well as Fear. Puppey, the Crystal Maiden, with a double kill. They may find more as Universe. Iron Shell and Surge getting finds Kuro, but with all these kills, Song of the Siren is available for him. Puppey is Frostbite available too. They drag him to the other side of the river. The Surge is up, and now the Song of the Siren. Universe waited out. The call down. The rocket arrives. How much damage is it? Kills himself on the wall. That was nicely played by Universe to get the kill before death, but still, he goes down for a support Naga Siren.
That was just a textbook bait on that Darkseer, but Universe good enough to be still picking up the kill, but unfortunately trades himself away. Sumail picking up the kill on the Viper, those solos so critical after a big team fight loss.
And they were meant to have the advantage for a while, but when you now level it up at 7 apiece, what is even our advantage? We have 2,000 net worth going the way of Secret, and just under that for the experience. In fact, Secret is dipped down now rather than updated. And it may even dip down further as EG now starts to push in their stats. So here, this is your power level and you get the booster back. Secret are all on top of the Dire Ancients. The Observe Ward's already down, so you're not going to be able to stack those up. So there's no easy farm for Fear there.
So while I said earlier that I do believe Team Secret should be the aggressors here, the problem is going to be that I don't believe Viper's mech timing is going to be that far ahead of EG's. Viper is one of the few who should pick up a mech way ahead of most other cores, because 1 and 2 positions aren't often going to go for a mech. There are only very specific ones like Viper and maybe Razor. But this Darkseer is getting so much farm at the bottom lane that he already has that headdress, and soon to be Buckler, he's only maybe 1 or 2 minutes behind S4's farm.
Top lane support's coming in, Sumail getting jumped on side, but Arteezy's already here. Goes to the down with a punch, and Sumail. That's called hitting hard. The uppercut to the talented youngster.
Team Secret really just taking it to evil geniuses here, just trying to outplay them and move on maneuvers. I mean, even certain surprising things like Arteezy rotating up to the off lane like that and getting a pick off on Sumail is huge. Evil geniuses and Secret are actually both rotating their cores around a lot this game, and it goes to show how important the first 15 minutes of this game is to start establishing dominance, to start establishing some sort of lead that will allow you to take control of the mid game, which is going to be the most critical area where Secret have the opportunity to potentially just like draw out the game and allow the Gyrocopter and maybe even the Naga Siren making up that 4 position into a core.
Speaking of Naga, Samel jumping him on the bottom, and Koro, no way out, no home. Spirit able to bring him down. He had a little bit of help coming in from Universe, but at the same time, it wasn't required there. Still just a support Naga without a Song of the Siren. Even if he did have Song of the Siren, Samel's jumps and Vortex controls were the perfect times. He would have had to pop it the second he saw the ball lightning come.
Yeah, and I'm really feeling that Samel is going to be able to get a Bloodstone at a decent timing with the rate he's farming. Once he has that Bloodstone, you know you're going to find a couple of kills, and then once you get 10 or 11 charges on that Bloodstone, Samel's Storm Spirit's just going to start falling out of control, because as we said, there's not too many disables that can actually keep him in one place.
Yeah.
So then it's just left purely up to mana regen and the individual play of Samel, and we've seen how that's gone all tournament long. The semifinals was an excellent demonstration of Storm Spirit as well as Shadow Fiend Samel and his prowess on those two heroes.
We are talking of Samel a hell of a lot. I know we're saying like there's not a lot to control Samel, but I'm seeing a Crystal Maiden who is one of these, can be absolutely horrendous, can also be absolutely wonderful. Also, guys on top, yes, here comes the wonder. Samel with the combination of PPD's Deathward, Arteezy has no chance of surviving this one. He stuck around to destroy the tower, was successful at doing so. At the same time, Secret will be taking the tier 1 tower in mid. S4 is waiting for it, and Fear cannot deny it. So they will get two tier 1 towers for the death of the Gyrocopter. But back to my point, you've now got a hand of Midas over on the Crystal Maiden. This means you actually get a faster timed and farmed up Crystal Maiden ultimate. So you potentially can have a BKB Crystal Maiden standing in the middle of the engagement up against EG. What is the rest of EG? We ignore Samel from the fight. What is the rest of EG meant to do up against the team fight control that Secret offers?
I mean, we keep talking about Samel because a lot of this game banks on him for EG, because you're dealing with like certain cores like Bristleback who are just going to be kited constantly. I mean, you've got the Tusk, who's actually pretty good at kiting around a melee hero like Bristleback. The Crystal Maiden slows Hyper, even Ensnare. Like, Fear's just not going to have a very fun time whatsoever. He's just going to be a meat shield a lot of the time that soaks up damage. So most of the damage is going to be output by back to Samel. Darkseer may be a bit more of an impact though than our Bristleback, and this is where we can actually talk about some potential item choices for him. He's already got the mech, but maybe he goes into a potential Blink Dagger for that early initiation vacuum, which couples really well with the supports, and he actually will be able to have some sort of jumping mechanism for EG. Spirit, which is very single target oriented.
Xayah and Fear managed to find each other, but as the bottom lane where Secret are putting in their pressure, Universe forced to surge himself away. As Secret, again, we've seen this record being played multiple times and times again throughout this ESL 1 competition. You take out all the tier 1 towers, you look to force in the tier 2, you slowly restrict the area of the enemy, and then you get BTs, you move quickly around the map. There's no keeper light this time around, he was banned out. You'll still be able to have Naga Siren do her work with the illusions, and he'll probably in the end get BTs over on the heroes. The Blink Dagger is practically done for Xayah. So he'll have the initiation to also punish them when they do have this map control.
Looks like Evil Geniuses, they're going to take this fight.
Can they? The Naga Siren song is up, and Arteezy has called out 2 in the challenge. And they just completely focus him down, but yeah, okay, we're able to finish the job. The paralyzing cast counting them, and the Song of the Siren will buy space here. Aui's on one side now. Who is the focus target? The Sword Prince kind of got to be in to take one. Universe with a rocket barrage. Smell jumps up and takes out Puppy, but Puppy kept Fear out of play. Now the Diamond Strike is all being dragged back into the main cast. Can't keep him up long enough. And Arteezy trying to focus on Fear, but they got Samel isolated. No mana from the speak of. And he's got empty. Maybe the one turns up, and Aui into the pulse over. The damage is enough. Will it be enough? Arteezy and Aui battling for the one. Oh man, Arteezy forward. Double kill for Gyro. He barely survives.
8 HP is what makes the difference between EG winning that fight and Secret. Oh, Samel almost catching the Naga Siren there on the tail end of that one. And if AUI actually manages to solo up Arteezy there, he gets so much experience and so much gold out of that one that could have actually been somewhat worth it for EG, considering the dire circumstances they were in. Puppy gets picked off by Samel, another excellent spot out of that one, but
That was actually so close. You see, Secret were actually in this position where they were super grouped up. The vacuum wall play was a potentially 4-man, 5-man ball that could have been had. But that Song of Siren from Kuro is what actually saves everything from Team Secret and set them up for success.
And it's the one German on the stage that's able to do it for him. And Secret, they got to keep going with this momentum, and at least hold on to some of what they've got, because they've got the gold, but they're starting to lose control of the experience as Sumail. You're still looking at him deny himself up. You're not getting a proper death, but he's 9.4k in the net worth. The Bloodstone might be done, but this net worth is now able to move into something a little bit stronger, like some level of disable, or potentially his own ability to move around inside that Song of the Siren. Like, do you want to get a BKB on him, or do you look for control?
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I think control is probably the best bet here, but it's a little bit hard to say. I'm taking a look at some of the other items that are going to start benefiting from the added control. One thing to note is Arteezy has actually gone for not only treads, which is, you know, increase in HP when you go over to strength treads, but also you've got drums as well as Sage, which is probably going to be the This is a very common build, SNY Gyrocopter, but you don't usually go for a and drums and very mid-game focus from Arteezy, which means he is going to be very difficult to kill from just flat-out nukes. He's going to have a hard time getting that last peak of damage to overwhelm his HP pool.
I got an answer from Stormspirit. We have the first Oblivion staff now on this Stormspirit, so it will be the Orchid build up in Storm. He's on the top power to make space for it in his inventory.
Yeah, so he's going up against Arteezy. Not sure this is really a fight he can take, trying to outplay Arteezy as much as possible. He does have some help coming in from AUI, though.
Yeah, just back it up. AUI may be able to get just rid of the homing missile. Okay, you just walk straight past it and let Sumail deal with it. And it's only level 1 from Arteezy, so it's not going to do anywhere near as much damage.
Yeah, the Orchid focus, I think, is going to be good for Sumail if he can take out the Tusk or the Naga Siren. Two of those heroes who have really good saving mechanisms for the Viper and Gyrocopter.
Goodbye tier 1 tower on bottom lane. Aoi, she's surprisingly using that before the fortification was triggered. The creep wave is going to do the rest of the work anyway as, well, Zai scanning out most people in the universe moving, and now PPD puts down the sentry ward. He doesn't find the Radiant Observer, and he doesn't find Zai either. And Zai seeing all 3 players up.
They separated all. Secret may try and go for the very aggressive play, but they have to be quick on the kill, and that's where they lack a little bit, right? Viper is very damage over time oriented. It takes them a little bit longer to get those kills, and you have to think about the fact that if they go for a kill, say on Fear right now, who's farming up that hard camp, they'd be locked in where EG could teleport into both the tier 2 at middle and the tier 2 at top, and could actually be sandwiched against the evil geniuses. So better play not to go for anything too aggressive, at least with the invisibility. Though maybe if they get enough heroes up to this top lane, they can actually circumvent EG from getting back to their base.
They're trying to, but right now, EG, that Dire Observer ward, they're still sitting inside the jungle is working on. And Aoi, again, he does this time and time again. The split pushes out, forces a TP back, which Puppy. And the rest of EG come in for the kill. Arteezy trying to retrieve 4 of them together. Sumail jumps in. He grabs Arteezy, pulling him in. Universe, the Song of the Siren, again stopping a 3 or 4 then back into a wall. Kuro buying that space, not TPing himself out, and Sumail's not going to jump for it either. He just lets him go.
In the meanwhile, AUI did get a pretty good push at bottom lane, as you pointed out earlier. He also now has a Yule Scepter. Now, we've seen certain Leshraks as core Leshraks pick up this Yule Scepter because it basically allows you to be Lina in 6.84. You may see AUI go for a pickoff just like this at bottom.
I don't know if Puppy actually clicked on him when he showed himself there. He may not know about that Yule Scepter just yet. We have to remember, too, that we are still running around.
Utilize this double damage to go take Roshan. This is one of the big things about Bristleback, especially he has level 2 goo. With the new change-up of goo, it actually gets some armor loss benefit at level 2. It goes up to 1.4, so this means they actually have a decent amount of minus armor to take on Roshan, especially with the DD, obviously, doing a huge increase in physical damage for as well.
And the fact they can do it without Secret really cottoning on. Now the ping finally comes out, and it came out there from Arteezy. It's like, yo guys, I think he's in there, but it's already too late. Stormspirit now with immortality as well as the full money for the Orchid. And the prep work's already done in bottom lane by Aoi. That was the crazy thing. You lost 4 players from the map. Aoi was showing himself on bottom, and it looked almost like it was baiting. Like EG was baiting with Aoi on the bot. But instead, Secret just kept farming up in mid. They were trying to look for any kind of extra income from other positions apart from where they thought EG were.
So they have a large amount of sustain coming in. Fear's already gone for the Vanguard. We'll be finishing up the Crimson Guard right now.
Radiant's
and they also have the Orchid finished up for Samael at the same time with Aegis. Aegis Storm Spirit obviously being one of the best, if not the best hero to have it. So, you know, they actually just picked up level 16 at 23 minutes. An insane amount of experience. Level 3 Ball Lightning, adding that extra bit of damage. I think Evil Geniuses are now in a really good position to force fights.
But do they just go? Like, and where do you really go? Do you try and go through the top lane? Because you could try and take the tier 2 tower on bottom and then maybe have a crack at the tier 3, but you're still going to battle through fortification, and you still got these tier 1 towers allowing Secret to contain, well, hold a lot of map control.
Okay, so they've actually got several counters now, all right? They've got the Orchid to be able to jump on the Naga Siren, take her out, and make sure there's no Song of Siren play when they go for the initiation. And they also have the counter to the Snowball. It's not necessarily to try and stun up or get the Tusk before he uses Snowball, but the Blink Dagger, oh, that bottom lane side is going to be blinked out by that Orchid from Samael, right back up to E-Charge.
Oh, no! Keeps him alive, 24 HP, drop down to him. Maybe now they can turn it around on Samael. He's regenerating too quickly for him, and Kuro can't catch up to him. The control's too far away, but he brought Secret down the bottom lane, which means now PPD as well as Fear can go into that tier 1.
The 55% magic resistance.
Up a long way, goes to the Rocket Barrage. Fear, actually no, there's no follow-up. Without the creep wave there, without the potential bounce, there's just no joy from that cask.
Also, going back to it, we have the Blink Dagger on Universe that we talked about earlier. So the Blink Dagger, obviously, when you snowball in, you have the potential to counter that by blinking in and making a vacuum wall play.
And maybe you can catch him out before the Naga Siren can get the Song of Siren off.
Yeah, that's also a potential.
And if you don't get that out, then you've still got double Glimmer Capes from Super. They can just bail themselves out. You put a call down and then EG's too far in. That Darkseid may not have an escape mechanism because he's using Blink, not Force Staff, so he can't just push himself out of the call down.
Against the Gyrocopter as well as the Viper right now. The Viper is a natural, like, just game dominator. Super tanky, his damage is still really insane. And then you've got the Gyrocopter going for such an offensive mid-game build as well, with heavy amounts of stats. He's invested into very much a 20 to 30 minute fighting build. Do you really want to go into that? I think EG actually choosing the split push was a much better idea.
And Secret actually let their tier 2 tower on the bottom lane go. They smoked up and looped around. Now the smoke's going to break and they find Furious. Raymond's got one inside the mid lane that saw him out. He can't get the Crimson Guard off, or the one charge holding onto both of them for now. One charges, hold the Crimson. So they do find the kill over on the Bristleback, but then Aoi instantly makes a beeline for the bot lane, and so does Storm Spirit. Samael, a long leap down. They want to try and make Secret think a tier 3 for a tier 2, not worth it. And Fortification, well, it is available. If Aoi can actually, he does trigger the Edict, the Fortification will be used. They haven't finished the tier 2 tower, but EG still have fortification of their own. They're forcing them back. The tower's at a half-life. Samael's not giving up. He's got Orchid as well as AKC Model. He wouldn't mind actually fighting this one. Snowball in. Zion, well, there's your ball lightning away. And the tier 2 tower remains up in the mid lane. It's in deny range as well for EG.
Yeah, excellent play there from both AUI as well as Samael, seeing that opportunity to push down the bottom tier 3.
They're going
he just find an opening.
The ping is on Arteezy. There's your ball lightning in. Vortex actually going to go with the lightning for the start with it. Kuro, he actually got Orchided up, so he couldn't Song of the Siren them away. But the Glimmer Capes go to work once again. Yeah, the problem is, yeah, you go ahead and silence up that Naga Siren, but she's still got that Glimmer Cape, which is becoming a critical point. Almost feels like Samael needs to maybe carry some dust around with him just because the invisibility. How about a gem? PPD's holding onto one.
It's not a bad option, particularly on the Storm Spirit who has an Aegis, right? I mean, considering he's not dealing with that many disables, he does have to worry a little bit about the Tusk, though, who I felt like Blink Dagger was a must-have for Zai, and sure enough, that's immediately the item he goes for, and he's going to follow it up with a BKB. Him being able to blink in and instantly walrus punch up that Storm Spirit when he tries to jump in, sort of a counter initiation, which may just give them enough stun duration to blow up the Storm once.
Samael's Aegis is going to time out in like 15 seconds, but he might be able to have one last hurrah, and he will do so. Chasing down S4, PPD will be able to give him the extra stun, as well as the Death Ward. Every bit of damage they can get, the Glimmer Cape is down, and the Vision was there because of the gem, which was passed over to Samael. But S4 will be able to survive the fight another day, and the Aegis the Immortal has burnt out as well.
Yeah, unfortunately. even if you can see him, it's still that Orchid just not doing any damage whatsoever because of the Glimmer Cape magic resistance that's added in. On top of that, Kuro actually has an okay amount of farm. Puppey obviously has a lot more with his hand of Midas, and with the B4B, he could be a big factor here.
Are up in the air, Frank, one life with that rod of a Vitos, but Owie not enough life to survive for the rest of EG's on the way. What is that? Into a three-man wall! The Song of the Siren stops the fun! They have to wait it out, but where they go, PPC, the ball is jump over towards Puppey, who now lets it go. Universe Solo playing it away to Samal as well. Full duration, TS ulti. They don't get this right off from the net. Samal in the corner. He's so low, he might go down. Will it be a team one? They punch it, and they'll bring it down. 9 Euros 3G. One play secret. 19 to 13, and there is one direction victory.
Absolutely, Team Secret has countered EG so hard with just the item choices. I mean, Kuro going for the Glimmer Cape. How many times did we see Sumail? He should have been able to find a pickoff with that Orchid, and yet he just never killed anybody, never started that snowball roll, and never got those Bloodstone charges. And you see it in a fight like that where and they're able just to run it down.
And the crowd getting riled up behind Secret as they take out the mid-tier 3. They take out the range rack. EG, well, they will hold their melee. They can't catch out Gyro, or can they? Nope, the Yulset from Owie just controls the creep wave instead. So as far as EG getting punished for that loss of fight, it could have been a lot worse. Like, you only lose your range racks, and you didn't have to buy back on any of your heroes.
This is true. Look at the items that are coming in for Team Secret, though. I think they're going to be willing to fight. I mean, they'll definitely fight around the next Roshan.
What, just because Puppey's going to own a BKB, they get a full Butterfly as well as a side. The Vi's up and running. Another BKB over on Tuskar. Yeah, I think they got a couple of items, man. Even Naga's got 2.6k. Does Kuro actually pull the Owie and go Radiance here?
I mean, here's the thing, right? The heavy amount of stats is a good way to be able to deal with the Orchid rather than a straight BKB for the Gyrocopter, and then you get the Butterfly. And Butterfly is a huge counter to the Storm Spirit because he's pretty heavily dependent on actually getting out a lot of right clicks in fights in order to get damage out. And this is obviously a hero who does not want to go MKB anytime soon.
Arteezy, they see Universe to blink away. Zai would like to keep chasing him down. They caught a glimpse of PPD just tiptoeing on the stairs. They understand, like, pushing him through the mid, if they can take the melee racks, that's going to be fine, but all the oldies are up for EG. They're ready to fight. Secret's got a BKB on this CM, and she's almost level 16. Arteezy just forces out a reaction if possible. At this point, Fear's just going to snot all over him, turns the back, puts the gun, looks like River now, nice on Gyro. Going to drop Arteezy down to 2/3 of his life. S4 is still blocking around with this mech of his, but they cannot get this melee racks down. If you're going to commit, you got to commit properly. Chipping down a melee rack's obviously not useful when it will regenerate on you.
Yeah, better for Team Secret to try and go for that melee racks with not that much full commitment, and then back up into the tier 2. Look for Roshan to be the next opportunity where Team Secret maybe hard push up lane.
Oh, that's exactly why this courier from the Dire side is moving down here. It's not coming for items, it's coming to actually have a look into the pit to see if Roshan is available, which he is not at the moment.
It's a very natural trade-off on the Dire side to give away your top tier 2 tower in exchange for Roshan, but EG, the timing is not right for them.
Yep. That's also so dangerous when you got Song with a Siren available. Now for the Ice Shard, Sphere getting caught. He's actually locked in the Dire stairwell. And with the Observer Wall, they can see him Pumpy, follow up Frostbite. And now Naga turns on the Song with a Siren. PPD, he's behind them. Killing a Puppy. It's that ultimate. He will have to back up. And the play back to Mayo. All the way across. Right back in the game. He's dying so quickly. Will he actually live through this? He's chasing out Kuro. He'll get the kill. Overhead S4. Kill for S4. Fear doing some work. And Arteezy so low. The snowball again from Zai. They keep buying space. And even with an Invis rune spawning in the bottom river, Puppy holding
Sumail, I mean, that was the one hope we talked about in the draft. Like, okay, how are they going to be able to deal with Sumail? They don't have a whole lot of lockdown. Well, they just constantly save allies. Glimmer Capes were huge for this game.